Nova York é a cidade dos sonhos. E dessa vez, vamos realizar mais um sonho do Voluntariado Jovem e da Turma do Jiló. Mais uma turma de jovens chega à cidade com uma missão. Uma não, algumas. Pisar na sede da ONU, participar de discussões sobre o futuro e participar também do NEXUS Global Summit, o maior evento de filantropia e impacto do mundo, como a delegação mais jovem da conferência. E não só isso, a nossa turma também vem para formar conexões e ajudar localmente.
My name is Alex. I work with the volunteer programs team here at City Harvest. It's a pleasure to have y'all with us today. We are going to go over a brief history of City Harvest and our work. Then I will get you those specific instructions for today's repack, and we will get this party started. City Harvest is New York City's first and largest food rescue organization. We were founded over 40 years ago by volunteers just like yourselves who saw good food going to waste in the city and wanted to do something about it. So since our founding in 1982, we have rescued and delivered over 1 billion pounds of food across the 5 boroughs. And this year alone, again with the help of folks like y'all, we'll be rescuing and delivering over 81 million pounds of food.
Meu nome é Antônia, a gente está aqui em Nova York. A gente veio aqui direto fazer trabalho voluntário.
Oi, meu nome é Ana Lu e a gente está aqui no City Harvest. A gente está separando as maçãs para dar para quem precisa.
A Brazilian NGO which is focused on philanthropy and also in inclusive education. So it first started with public schools, and then as the project grew, it went to private schools and companies, and then as the foundation was growing, it started discussing other topics other than inclusive education. Inclusive education is basically providing support to everybody so that everybody can get the chance to succeed. And well, as the project grew, they started discussing more topics and creating different projects inside of it to discuss these different topics, such as the Youth Volunteer Project, which is the one that we are part of.
The Youth Volunteer Project had the idea to teenagers, us, to participate and get better knowledge about the world that we live today, with the problems that they have, to create solution of it. And in the end of semester, in the beginning, we discuss a topic until the end of the semester, and in the end we act on it, and it is basically to the future. We have a better to us teenagers in the future can help with those problems.
We know that in the US it's more common to have like these philanthropy courses, let's say in schools, but in Brazil and South America as a whole, it's not common at all, not even mandatory. And so young people like us that don't have access to this in schools, we decide to do it on our own in these NGOs such as Turma do Jiló. And we learn more about the culture of giving, which is very, very low in Brazil. And it's more forward to existentialism and less to philanthropy, which is not that good. So we try to change that.
E aí, fala pra mim.
A gente fez, agora 101, né? 101 sacos de maçã.
Olha lá. Em qualquer lugar do mundo, a colaboração e a educação são as chaves da mudança. E por isso, a gente participou de um workshop sobre inteligência artificial e storytelling com o nosso parceiro de marketing em Nova York, chiquérrimo, a agência Pereira Odell.
A gente acabou de almoçar e aí agora a gente está indo para uma agência de marketing aprender um pouco, ouvir um pouco sobre como contar histórias, sobre storytelling, para a gente se preparar para a nossa apresentação no Nexus amanhã.
Meu marido é sócio e ele tem um outro sócio que é americano, e é desde 2008 que a gente tem essa agência. Primeiro lá em São Francisco, que é onde é a matriz, é onde a gente tem mais funcionários, e aqui onde a gente tem outras 4 empresas do grupo alemão que faz parte da nossa rede.
Quando a gente falha, a gente fica com a sensação, vão me criticar, etc. Não, ele tá esperando que ela vai consertar, vai estar tudo certo. Eu tô aqui pra ver ela, eu tô aqui pra prestigiá-la, então vai dar tudo certo. E ele tá com você, ele tá dando a mão pra você. Então captar essa energia de pessoas que te querem bem, porque elas estão ali, elas pagaram pra assistir, ou elas estão presentes, elas estão dando o tempo delas pra te ver, é porque você merece. E estresse nada mais é do que você esticar uma coisa. Você esticar e devolvê-la para o lugar e voltar a esticar de novo, isso é um exercício bom pra gente. É saber voltar, que é sempre importante. Na atenção é a mesma coisa. A atenção, você está sentindo e você tem que saber olhar para aquilo e honrar. Esse sentimento existe, não é fingir que não existe. Eu já vou falar de ferramentas sobre isso. Esse sentimento existe e eu tenho que devolvê-lo de uma forma as pessoas olharem e falarem, ele não está nervoso, ele tem energia, ele tem garra, ele tá mostrando que ele sabe.
Primeiro dia oficial da conferência, a gente tá indo pra ONU agora.
My name is Julia, and I wanted to know if this generation with new technologies, do you think we'll get improvement with these technologies, or you think the world can get more confused or different, like in a bad way?
Yeah, that's a very, very good question. I don't think there's a perfect answer. I think it's probably a mix of both, also from a lot of what we see. So I think the idea is that obviously technologies and digital solutions have enabled young people to mobilize in ways never seen before. I mean, earlier you heard the example of the climate movement, which I think is a great example of how young people have been at the forefront of driving societal progress and change. And a lot of this is made possible because of things like digital technology, social media, etc., which young people have used in really effective ways to mobilize movements, to push for change, to advocate for policy. But I think it's also important that we don't see technology as the solution in and of itself. We also need to recognize, I mean, as I was just mentioning, all of the risks that come with technology.
You can't press the button in front of you.
How can we make young people and kids engage in improving the world?
Don't ask for permission. Right? Don't wait for people who are older than you to tell you when to get involved, when to speak up. I mean, I think there is no greater demonstration in recent years of the power of young people than the climate movement. Right? It is my firm belief that we would not have had the Paris Accord, we would not have had the progress we've made on climate had it not been for the mobilization.
So, today, even 50 years ago, the prevailing narrative around family wealth is go out and make more family wealth. It makes young people think that the meaning of life is not to breathe and have friends. No, it makes people from these very wealthy families often think that the meaning of life is just to make as much money as possible. And this may be a surprise for some of you, but that is not the meaning of life. You cannot take the money to heaven with you. It's you die, it's all gone, right? It goes to someone else. So the purpose of Nexus is to build bridges between communities of wealth and communities of impact, communities of social change.
Rachel Gerald. I am CEO co-founder of Nexus. Welcome to the best 3 days of my year. 3 days I get to spend with all of you. Our team will spend months poring over your applications, reading all about the passion that you're igniting in your home countries and cities, within your families, around the causes that matter to you. We could not be more inspired every morning when we read the news. We are not sure we will be inspired. And then every night when we read your applications, we could not be more inspired. So thank you already. I'll start with gratitude. Each person sitting in these seats represents a world. There's a world within each of you and a world that you come from, and you're here to share it. So please know that this isn't your passport to new worlds. This is your chance to meet one another and know one another at levels that you wish to most deeply be known. But you really knew him, and over so many decades. Who was he to you? And what did he want the next chapter of his life to have been about?
Well, it's pretty simple. I loved Matthew. I met him in his early 20s. He was an incredibly loyal person, so I went through his career with him. And the world saw him as Chandler Bing, but I, with others of his reps that worked with him for decades, we saw Matthew. And we saw his humanity, his humility, his vulnerabilities, and his sweetness. I think that people often believe that if someone is famous and talented and rich, then they have it all, but I'm here to say to you that famous people have the same problems the rest of us do. Matthew had a struggle, sadly, that none of us want. My job was to present his image to the world. I also was fighting a media that thought his personal life was fair game. I'm still protecting Matthew. I've fiercely protected him for 30 years. And now at the foundation, we're building his legacy. When we lost Matthew, we channeled our profound grief into building the foundation. It's what he wanted to do. He wanted to help people. He quietly helped people. He'd meet somebody at a meeting. They were in the throes of the disease. He'd take them home. They lived with him. Matthew said if someone walked up to him and said, "Can you help me?" he could say yes, and that was a good day.
One of the founders, Carola, her son, studied with me when I was little, and he was born with multiple disabilities, and schools told her that he couldn't learn, so she proved it that he couldn't, but in a different way that others learn, and then she realized how difficult it was to explain to people that different people could as well. So that she gets inspired and create Turma do Jiló to help public schools, because it's more difficult there to include this kind of people in
So she said, Turma do Jiló just more inclusive goals for all. So after Canal passed the law, they started mainly working in public schools to guarantee that everyone had access to quality education and inclusion as well. But then after some time, she realized that she could even have more action, so she started working, also taking action, also in private schools and companies. And then all the money raised went to the programs in the schools. So Turma de Jiló is also a philanthropic NGO, which is really different from many of the NGOs in Brazil.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about the culture of giving in Brazil. So in Brazil, schools don't teach us about culture of giving and philanthropic acts or any of that. So it's different from the United States that schools teach the kids since little about these things and they really understand it in depth and sort of in practice and voluntary works and these things. So it really this is really prejudicial to us because we don't have the knowledge that kids in the US or in other parts of the world have about these things. And that's why Turma de Jiló is so important because it helps us understand these things and helps us have a different point of view of the world when we're not about the part that we
So also inside Turma de Jiló we have a program which is the NEXUS Volunteer, which we're all part of. So it was also founded by Canal after she came in 2017 here to NEXUS. So she got inspired by all the young leaders around the world, and then because of that she decided to create this volunteer program where we learn about philanthropic actions in Brazil and just take action on what we learned. So she created action.
And it's all we have. So what we do with the present moment is important. And it's the only place where we can make a change.
I just got unwelcome back. But it is interesting to think about, isn't it? Why is it that really smart people who are doing great things in the world, when you just ask them, how are you feeling? You don't really know. Or you just say, fine, good, okay, meh. That's what we mostly use, right? Most people say, by the time I say how I'm feeling, the other person's already gone. Now, I have another question for you. How many of you at some point during my talk, or during this whole long day, how many of you would get distracted? Raise your hands. Okay, now look around the room. Everybody, basically. Okay, so this is great. It's like Nexus, the world of emotionally illiterate, attention deficit disordered people who care about other people. And so it brings up another question, which is, what do we do with these feelings? How do we regulate our emotions? Now, my real interest is in how people are at these days, at least currently. So I do large-scale studies across the world. Just did one in Hong Kong, Australia, New Zealand, Costa Rica, I was going to say España, Spain, Italy. And what I'm finding across the world is that these are the top emotions that people are feeling. Anxiety being the number one. Now, if I were to ask you, how do you want to feel? How many of you would say, tired, bored, stressed, overwhelmed, anxious? Nobody really wants to feel that way. Most people say, I want to feel excited and joyful and appreciated and fulfilled and calm and satisfied. Yet, it's hard to feel those things all the time. My big question as a scientist is, how do we bridge the gap? What is the percentage? How much of the red and blue should we experience each day? How much can we experience without falling apart? And the reason why I care about that is that there are 5 reasons in my research for why emotions matter. And I can go into this for 3 hours or 3 weeks. The first is attention, memory, and learning. Our emotions drive our attention. So right now, how you feel, if you're interested, you're here. You don't need a strategy to regulate. If you're like, I'm not sure about this, you might need a strategy to bring you back to the present moment. Emotions influence our decision making. Raise your hand if you've ever made a bad choice. Okay? We've all made bad choices, but most of us, when we make our bad decisions, we don't have that self-awareness like, oh, right now I'm being mean and cruel to someone because my emotions are getting the best of me. How many of you have that self-awareness when you say that thing? One person. Most of us don't. It comes out automatically. And lots of research around that. The third is that emotions drive our relationships. Think about this. Emotions are signals to approach or avoid.
A NEXUS é uma conferência diferente de todas as outras. Ao invés de fazer networking ao redor dos seus cargos, a NEXUS incentiva que os participantes façam networking através de uma paixão em comum. Olha que legal! A pergunta mais feita na NEXUS é: qual é a sua paixão? Seguida de: como eu posso te ajudar? Além disso, o time da conferência traz palestrantes e especialistas do mundo todo, sempre com o palestrante principal de peso. A gente já viu Malala, Barack Obama, Cara Delevingne, e esse ano foi ninguém mais, ninguém menos do que o Príncipe Harry, o Duque de Sussex. A gente teve a honra de apertar a mão dele e de ter 10 minutos do tempo dele para contar sobre o poder transformador do voluntariado jovem.
Hi everyone. Hi iPhones. I would encourage you to take a photo, but then put your phone down and just be with us. It'd be funny. Let's pretend we're all at dinner. It'd be funny to be at dinner with all your iPhones out. I mean, you might do that at dinner. It's not in my house. I'm really honored to have you with us today.
Focus on giving a platform to young people. It's their future. I think that the longer that we are on planet Earth, the more experience we have, naturally. But also the longer we've been on planet Earth, the more we've been exposed to, not necessarily in a good way. So I think that young people come to these situations and come to these issues with such a clear mindset. So much of these problems are being created without them, and I think they need to. We believe that they simply have to have a seat at the table. The Responsible Tech Youth Power Fund is a group of individuals, young people that we fund and support, and they are coming up with the solutions. This is their future. Bring them in, let them create the future that they want. Who are we, in our sort of 40s or 50s or 60s, to be able to say, this is what we're going to create for you without actually asking you. So that to me has been a sort of a guiding light for me, certainly over the last 20 years. And again, fortunate enough to get out there, and that's the most important piece of advice that I would give.
Don't need any permission. You guys, you're the future, right? It's your future that everybody should be investing in.
And what you said in the plenary, that you said that we are the future, so we have to really participate, and how we are really important, and that we will contribute to the future. So I thought that was very nice, because we are all members of the youth volunteer project in Brazil. So that's why we're here, because we always meet up once a month, and we try to discuss about real world problems that in schools they don't teach us that. They try to kind of avoid these things.
Now, you may have seen a number of Brazilian students wandering around here at Nexus this week, and we are lucky enough to have one of them joining us as a speaker today. So I'd like to welcome up Felipe Bronstein.
So, what if the next generation could lead us to a better future? But that's not a reality yet in many countries such as mine, Brazil. In my country, we miss the opportunity to educate youth into change. We don't give them the tools so they can become active game changers in society. We don't give them the tools so they can change the community they are in. So, what if the next generation could be the next leaders? But that's not possible. In Brazil, we are immersed in a big, deep systematic hole. And also that Brazil lacks a strong giving culture. Last year, for example, we donated around $150 million for charitable causes. But that's not philanthropy. That's not long-term. And Brazil is desperate for long-term solutions. So, I'm Felipe. I have been educated on social philanthropy and social responsibility as well. And I'm passionate about high-performance sports, intense projects, and social leadership. I don't like what's easy. I go after challenges that push my limits. I go after challenges that embrace my impact and turn that into real conversation and deep learning. So I'm part of the Youth Volunteer Project, as you can see here in my shirt, and together we try to put intensity, purpose into real impact, and that's a key thing. And this is exactly why the Youth Volunteer Project is everything I'm passionate about. It's about dealing with what's different. It's about dealing with what's different. It's about embracing the unpredictable. It's about embracing change. Even after supporting more than 1,000 people since early 2024, just in our Youth Volunteer Project, not in the whole NGO, we still want more. And here's where the true value of youth show up. We're not here to settle. We always want more. We want to leave our mark, and our mark changes people's life daily. Making it even more special, Turma do Jiló was founded by Carola, that's right here. Believing that, inspired by her son, she could make inclusive education more democratic in Brazil, something that's very difficult in our situation right now. But it was right here at NEXUS that everything changed. Inspired by the crowd, the energy, and the spark of this place, Carola envisioned a road in which youth people could be the active leaders to change, creating the Youth Volunteer Project in which I'm proud to be part of. But why? Why us youth people are the next generation, and why we have the power in our hands? Because we're not superheroes. We don't have any special powers, but why we are into change? So, when asked, 70% of the youth worldwide believe that climate changes are a real problem. But how can we face that when 63% of the families in Brazil, for example, don't have any good situation and they are in debt? And that don't happen only in Brazil, that happen in many countries, South America, Central America, Africa, and in a world in which we are surrounded by a lot of problems, including environmental problems, social poverty, and they're not just environmental, economic, social, they are more than three problems, and the time for change is now. And it's now because as we are the present and the future, we need to put into action, we need to put into a solution. And again, we don't have superpowers, we don't have any we're not superheroes, but we share from something in common. We all want to change society. We are all youth, we are the present and the future. The change is in our hands. We are already leading movements, we are already leading projects, we are already leading conversations to change. And I ask, if you join from the same passion that I do, that's change society, put society in a better place, in a place that you can be your own leader, please join us. Let's make this together. Let's make a society in which economic, climate, and social justice walk together, walk along our lives, that we could build this place a better road for all, not just for the next generation, but the many generations that are coming in front of us. Our passion is leaving no one behind. Our passion is being connected. And a road in which everyone is safe, a road in which everyone enjoys living in, is a road in which we connect as different generations. We need to be together. The time for change is now. So help us change the road by engaging with us. Help us change now. Invite us for your projects. I know that most people from here are already engaged. We're already leading movements, as I said. But the time for change is now. And if we want to leave our marks, we need to work together. And for that, we need to change everything now as one and a whole. That's it. Thank you.
Gente, e o poder da colaboração sempre vai além. Para fechar essa viagem com chave de ouro, a gente foi recebido por um membro super querido do Nexus para um workshop sobre propósito e felicidade lá em Melbourne, New Jersey.
Essa é uma das grandes perguntas assim do próprio campo da psicologia positiva, e tem algumas coisas que a gente que a gente observa, que a gente mede. Uma delas é quase que uma avaliação um tanto fria sobre a sua vida. Então, se você para e você tenta avaliar a tua vida, a minha vida é boa ou não, chama life satisfaction. Aí você pode avaliar, não, minha vida é ótima, tipo, você pode olhar, e cada pessoa faz de uma forma diferente, dependendo da sua cultura, das preferências, mas muita gente olha, tipo, não, eu tenho acesso a saúde, a moradia, a educação, eu tenho uma boa formação, eu tenho relações legais, e pode avaliar como alto. Já pessoas podem avaliar diferente. Mas tem uma parte que é quase uma parte, né, avaliativa. Tem uma parte que ela é a parte emocional. Então, só que a parte emocional ela flutua bastante. Então, mas você conseguir fazer uma avaliação temporal de como estão suas emoções, como está o seu humor, como você se sente. E isso dá para você medir ao longo do tempo. O que eu me centro muito, o que eu uso como guia, é aquela sensação, sabe aquela sensação quando você acorda de manhã e você meio que tipo, acordei, oi mundo, né? E eu tenho a sensação de, em geral, eu tenho uma sensação que que gostoso. Vou entrar pro meu dia, vou entrar pra minha vida. Saí do mundo dos sonhos, entrei pro mundo da realidade. Isso é uma realidade que eu tô animado para participar. Esse é o meu ponto guia. E quando eu não sinto isso, né? Então, ou se tem alguma coisa mais pesada acontecendo, nossa, pra mim, eu tive reações tão horríveis com o Covid, mas assim, a minha sensação emocional quando eu tava no Covid me lembra de anos atrás, de momentos mais infelizes da minha vida. Mas eu acho que esse é um guia pra mim. Mas em geral, uma mistura disso, é uma avaliação mais fria, uma avaliação mais temporal de como tá o seu humor, como você tá. E tem algumas maneiras de medir isso também.